Hi, loves, and welcome to the With Love Always podcast, a podcast to help you live the life you were created for. We are your hosts and your friends, Bree
and Marissa,
and we're so grateful you're here.
We pray you listen and leave feeling more inspired, encouraged, and uplifted.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We are so grateful as always that you are tuning into the conversation today. For today's conversation, we are going to be talking all about morning rhythms, not to be mistaken with morning routines. Similar, same concept, but we want to bring a refreshing, life-giving, hopefully energizing twist to the concept of morning routines. I think on social media and just like the world's language right now, there's so much emphasis on our routines, our disciplines, our structure, how to set yourself up for the best day, how to become the best version of you, which we are all in support of and we believe is so beautiful. But we also want to really bring the same concept and just insert grace and insert peace and insert flexibility, insert humanness, and just bring a really hopefully refreshing twist to the conversation on morning routines and share a little bit about why we want to use the word rhythms in place of routines, and hopefully to inspire you to just have a sense of beautiful structure and a beautiful framework for your life. Truly, we are so passionate and want to introduce this conversation, not because we think that necessarily your routine or your rhythm is the ultimate formula to your success, but truly because we believe there's beauty in honoring yourself and your mind and starting your day off on the right foot. And I know for myself, that sense of structure, that sense of framework has truly been so life-giving for me. And I know it's been for Marissa as well. And so we want to inspire you if you are curious or desiring to just have a sense of newfound life and energy in your life. We pray that finding a rhythm is something that can do that and bring that to you. So without further ado, we'll just jump into our morning rhythms.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about this. I love my morning rhythm, my night rhythm. But before we jump in, we are going to spell out like specifically what that looks like for us, because I feel like it's helpful to see how we actually start the day. But I wanted to just provide a little bit of context in case the word rhythm feels new, or you're asking yourself like, okay, what's the difference between a rhythm versus routine? And as far as how I think of it, when I used to hear the word routine, it felt almost a bit like regimented to me. And so I almost picture like, it's almost like assigning timestamps to your morning. So you might be like, okay, at 6:15 I eat breakfast, then 6:30 I take a shower. And it's very just kind of like, I feel like timestamps is the best word of like, maybe it's in like 15, 30-minute increments, and it kind of feels like a to-do list, like if you were actually to map it out. And so I find that what's helpful for me is a rhythm allows a little bit more flow and flexibility. It allows me to actually evaluate how I'm feeling when I'm going into that day. So although my intentions and a lot of the things I do are very similar, there's flexibility in the time, even how I go about doing it. And I feel like it allows me to center that like morning rhythm is more focused on things that are life-giving, and then the rest kind of are filled in accordingly, rather than starting with like such a list, if that makes sense.
Yes. I also love the concept of rhythm versus routine, because truly, I think the intention behind morning routine reels or TikToks is to inspire people. But I know for myself, like there's been times, probably even as of this week, where I see someone's morning routine. And to be honest, it is very discouraging, because my first thought is, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Or I don't start my day that early, or I am not disciplined enough to do XYZ the first the first moment I wake up in the morning. And that's why we're so passionate about just switching the language that you're even using on behalf of yourself, because I think rhythm is a word that really invites the humanness of us, but it invites grace. We are humans at the end of the day, and routines are beautiful. Trust me, I love my routines that do require discipline and consistency. But I also want to fill my life with the flexibility to be a human, the ability to be okay with feeling different day to day, the ability to go with the flow and actually give myself what I need, not forcing myself to be disciplined or regimented in moments that it is actually not the best for my heart, spirit, or mind. And so that is why we're so excited to, bring this new language around your morning and starting your day, because truly, I think the words we speak over ourselves hold so much power. Like, words truly have the ability to bring life or death, and not that routine is like a negative word. It's a beautiful word, but I do think there is like a gentleness and a softness and, like I said, a humanness to the word rhythm over routine.
Yeah, that was beautifully explained. I feel like that's the best way to put it, is when I hear that word, I feel like it creates expectation and almost a little bit of stress, because it feels like I have to's.
Yeah, have to. Oof.
Yeah. And so for me, when I reframed it, and for context, I feel like I used to feel a little bit of shame in sharing my morning routine, because I am not somebody who is like crazy productive in the mornings. Like, I would say I'm not a morning person, and I definitely prioritize rest and sleep. And so I was not that person that was getting up at 5 a.m. and hitting the gym and accomplishing all of these things before work. I feel like if I could get one or two things done in my morning, I was happy.
Yeah.
And so I have just like surrendered that. And when I did that, I feel like I found so much more joy. And now I love my mornings, but they look different than what some people like. They might see it and it might not serve them, but it serves me and how I'm wired so well. And so we hope that this all just creates like inspiration and freedom rather than things you feel like you have to add to your life.
Yes. Can I also say too, it's like, I hear so much on social media, the language around morning routines is like, in order to become the best version of yourself, like you have to do X, Y, and Z. Like you have to do all these things in the morning before you start your day. And to what you said, it's like, there are some things that work better for me in the afternoon, that work better for me in the evening, that actually don't need to even exist in my day. Yeah. And so we want to really like inspire you to find what serves you best and loves you best, because that is what's going to lead you to the fullest version of you, not just the momentarily best, falsely productive version of you. Like, we care about your heart, we care about your mind, we care about your perception of yourself. And I think sometimes, at least in our world, we are just so incredibly harsh on ourselves, like unbelievably harsh. And we think we have to be this extremely regimented person in order to be successful, in order to be someone, in order to, even be inspired to share with other people. But that is just not true. Like, where did we get a pure intention and twist it to be so harsh? Like, and I think I'm just recently more so unlearning that, because I was definitely like the queen of harsh morning routine. I was a 5 a.m. waker upper. 5 a.m. waker upper. But yeah.
That's so helpful. And I feel like so many of us relate to that, because I used to feel, honestly, like I would see a routine and it would make me feel disappointed in myself rather than inspired. So that is not our intention at all.
No.
And so I'm just going to jump into my morning rhythm, and hopefully it can inspire you in some sort of way and just provide a sense of transparency to what really fuels me. And so I feel like in order to talk about a morning, you have to talk a little bit about the night before, because I feel like that is Actually, the first step to having a great morning, in my opinion, is an early bedtime. So for me, that is ideally 9:30 to 10:30. It falls to 10:30 more often, but when I am thriving, I am in bed. If I'm really thriving, I'm in bed at 9 reading a book, but that never happens.
That is goals.
Yeah, that, and like if my husband and I can both be in bed by 9 reading a book, I think that's happened like once in the last month or two. But I was like, wow, we are thriving. But anyways, normally it's 10:30. And then in the morning, actually, I feel so grateful because I set my alarm, as I feel like we all have to, but I have not really been waking up for my alarm. Other than Sundays where I have to get up at like 5 a.m., my body will just naturally wake me up, which is such a blessing. And I don't start work until 9, which is also such a blessing. That's the first time I've had a job that starts at 9. And for me, that works so beautifully for how I am. So I normally wake up naturally at around like 7 to 8-ish. And I will honestly sometimes just like sit there in bed. Sometimes I'll pray. Sometimes I'll just think. I do not sleep with my phone in the bedroom. That's like, if I could give any tip, that is such a game changer. It's in a different room, turned off charging. And I just feel so much more peace when I don't start with my phone. And so I will get up, I'll immediately go to the bathroom, drink water. I feel like that also is so helpful. I don't drink like coffee or have caffeine in the morning. My secret is actually just having water. I don't know what it is, but like just truly hydrating my body helps so much. And I also pretty immediately will like make breakfast, which I know some people, they need to wake up. I think maybe because I wake up a little bit later, my body's like just hungry. And so I have been making the same breakfast since I was in high school. I am so someone, like if something works well for me, I'm like, why change it?
I'm the same.
And so I will have oatmeal with fruit or like granola on top, and then I'll just have almond butter toast. And for whatever reason, I feel the best with that. I feel like it gives me energy and I like the taste of it. And I don't know, it just is genuinely something that like works really well and fuels me. So that's my breakfast. And then while I'm eating breakfast, ideally I'm doing it outside. Kind of depends on the weather though. So I will read my Bible. And last year I was following a strict reading plan so that I could finish it all within a year. But this year for me, I've really enjoyed just like spontaneously opening up like a different book of the Bible each morning. I'm currently reading through Psalms, which I've never really, I mean, I've read it, but I've never like sat and marinated in like one psalm in the morning.
So beautiful.
And so I've been trying to just like focus more on not just like reading quickly through, but like meditating like on a verse or a passage. I'll either pray during that time, or if I'm like commuting somewhere, I actually love to pray in the car. I feel like
I do too, actually.
There's
nothing else to do. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna pray.
I love like praying out loud. I find is so powerful. And so it allows you to kind of just like dump what's on your mind.
Yes, I so agree.
And so I don't do that in our house just because I feel like, I don't know, it feels silly if like, not that my husband would mind, but I feel silly praying out loud. But something in the car, I'm like, I could literally scream in the car and it would not feel weird.
I know. I'm like, this is my microphone, my car.
Literally, it's a safe space.
It is.
And then something that's new, I have not done this. This is like amping up my morning rhythm and making me so fulfilled and happy. I will do a yoga outside, and I love that so much. That's been like the absolute highlight of my day. Just like stretching, doing breath work, doing a little bit of like a workout. I feel like I'll be flexible. Like sometimes I just stretch, and other times I'm like, okay, I'll start doing like a Pilates moment with this. So that's been super sweet. And also the weather's just beautiful. So I'm trying to be outside as much as I can. I feel like just like being present, listening to the birds chirp is like my favorite thing ever. Then after that, I will normally go inside and wash my face, brush my teeth, do the actual like getting ready part. And then I will normally throw on some clothes and get started with my day, whether that's like leaving to go work or most of the time I'm just like working from home. So I'll just hop in front of my computer. But I would say that's a bit of a summary of my morning rhythm.
I love it. I love it. I feel like my morning rhythm has been changing quite a bit. Like I used to be more of a routine girly. Like I was, and I've been in that. When I speak on routines, I mean like the regimented side of things, like super regimented. And for years, like I was the person who did wake up extremely early to work out, to, journal, read my word, do all this. But I feel like the older I've gotten, the more that I've been able to have grace with myself and prioritize, like I don't have to wake up so extremely early. Yeah. So I think for me, my dream wake up time is like 6:30, but I would say as of late, like that's looked more closer to 7. For some people, they're like, that's so late. But I'm like, I just want to give myself the sleep that I need.
Yeah.
But I would say like even with marathon training to now, like I ran my marathon a month ago, and like my morning rhythm a month ago for the past 4 months is so different than it is right now. Like rhythms change. And so I'll just speak on behalf of what my rhythm has been as of recently. I think for me, truly the way that I love to start my day immediately is with movement. And I have been that way for years and years and years. And so while I was marathon training, my morning movement was honestly just going on a walk. I would always save my runs for like the afternoon or evening. But now I feel like because my body's like kind of being revived and has a little more energy back now that I'm not running quite as much, I have found that I do love getting my workout in the morning. So I will either do like 30 minutes at home, like in my living room. I love my at-home workouts. And then I love to like put some clothes on and go for a long walk. And so some mornings I'm able to do both. Like if I have enough time, if I wake up early enough, I get 30 minutes of some sort of movement in and then go on a long walk. But then other mornings, if that does not sound like it serves me or it's what I want, I literally love rolling out of bed, like getting dressed for the day, like putting on jeans, putting on a cute top, putting on a cute hat, putting on cute sneaks, like the first thing I do when I wake up.
I love that you put on jeans instantly. That's like such an abstract concept to me.
I've always been that way. Like, I don't know what it is. It's literally the first thing that I'll crave if I'm not craving to like do my actual workout in the morning. If I'm just craving to just go straight into my walk, I will wake up and I'll put on an outfit that I just feel excited to put on, and I will just go straight out the door. Actually, a part of my morning rhythm, this is actually a funny part of my morning rhythm. And as you hear me describing it, it's like a little like swirly because it really is just dependent on how I feel that day,
Yeah.
But actually the first thing I do when I wake up is I do go and chug water, but it does not matter how early it is. Literally one of the first things that I do every single morning is I cut up a morning apple.
I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, it's
I love that.
I don't know where this habit came from, but I think I've been doing it for the past year. I wake up and it doesn't matter what time it is. Like it could be 6, it could be 6:30, it could be anytime. I crave an apple first thing. It's almost like taking a drink of water for me. I love apples so much. Some people will think that's so weird.
They're so refreshing.
They're so refreshing. I will literally sometimes take a bite of an apple before I like take a sip of water. I don't know. I've just been in this routine for so long now.
Or sleep mask on, bites apple.
Yeah, bites apple, literally. But I don't know what it is. It's like, it's a small joy of my morning rhythm that I just love personally. And I feel like those are the first steps into starting my day. And then I'll either jump into a workout at home or I'll literally walk to my office, and I'll go work out there, or I'll just go on a long walk. And like I said, that's why we're saying these are rhythms, because literally at any given day, I'll wake up and I'll feel differently. And maybe I just want to go walk, or maybe I want to work out in my living room, or maybe I want to walk to the office and go work out there. It's truly like I'm implementing the same things in my day, but it's just going to look different of what it looks like specifically upon rising. So after doing one of those things, I either went and bought coffee or I brought coffee with me on my walk. And unlike Marissa, it's actually, coffee is also one of the first things to touch my lips in the morning. Like it's usually my water, but my coffee all at the same time. And so then I'll come back and hopefully by whatever I chose to do that morning, it's like 8:30. And so the last 30 minutes of my morning, I try to journal or spend time in the Word or whatever it may be to like really just center my mind. But I do find that I find so much peace and so much centering by like going outside pretty immediately. I think that's honestly one of my non-negotiable rhythms of my morning, whether it is my walk or just stepping outside. But honestly, you guys, like sometimes I don't get journaling or like my time with God in the mornings. Like sometimes I find myself jumping straight into work, and that's where it really is a rhythm of like what is serving you that morning. Sometimes I find that my time journaling or in the Word is like at night, or sometimes it's in the afternoon. And I share my very imperfect strand of thought with my morning because it just shows like how flexible I have now allowed my morning to be. Oh wait, how could I forget breakfast?
I was just gonna ask.
I'm so sorry. My mind is like literally a ping pong ball because I think I'm literally thinking of like even this week how much my morning has varied like day after day, but not in a way that feels like, whoa, like I'm not honoring myself. In fact, I am honoring myself by giving myself the flexibility to do the same acts of taking care of myself, but in a different order or in a different rhythm. And so I always eat breakfast. I would say I actually eat breakfast probably around like 9:30, usually after my morning. My morning apple sustains me. And then like after I've like worked out or gone on a walk, then I'm starting work and I'm usually like eating my breakfast then. So that's my very imperfect description of my morning routine. I hope that made sense.
It did. I honestly love hearing people's morning routines.
Yeah.
There's something, I don't know, it's like so cozy to listen to.
It is.
And I will say with mine as well, that's more like, if I had to summarize, mine changes. Like there are even times where I've gotten in the habit recently, I'm trying to break it, where I will like turn on my phone before I start work and there will be something that comes up that feels immediate. And I have just like jumped straight into work and like grabbed my breakfast and sat in front of the computer.
Yeah.
That does not make me thrive. And I'm aware of that, but also life is life. And I give myself so much grace in that. And there are even times too, not as often, but I will like have energy and I'm like, I want to work out right now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm more of like an afternoon, evening gal when it comes to that. I think for me, I love like a very peaceful morning. Like I even don't like to talk for the first hour of the day. Like my family knows, which is so funny. They're like, you can't talk to Marissa. Like she needs to wake up her mind. Yeah. And it's so true. Like for me, it takes a lot for me to like awaken. Whereas I feel like at night I can like be gabbing before I go to bed.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like that's why when I think a morning walk is my one rhythm that is pretty tried and true, whether I work out or don't work out in the mornings, because for me to like with immediacy, like slowly wake myself up through like the sunshine or through being outside, I'm like, this is my nobody talk to me time. You know what I mean? And same with like phone. I think that is actually something that I know I can actually be guilty of like getting on my phone first thing in the morning. And that is like something that in all the aesthetic, like morning routine reels, that is like the biggest no-no. But truthfully, that is like something that I'm working on in my morning rhythms. And it's something that, like you said, I don't thrive when I reach for my phone first thing in the morning or when I'm jumping into texting a bunch of people back. But I know that at least of right now, like that is a pattern that I'm actually trying to work on to bring more peace and solitude to my morning, because similar to you, and even though our morning rhythms are so different, I think a peaceful morning that doesn't feel rushed, that doesn't feel urgent, that doesn't feel like honestly, even though it is productive, that doesn't feel like it's in the name of productivity is where I thrive best.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. And I even find for me, and I think we can, well, honestly, I feel like we could share now of like, does this change or evolve at all during the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Because I find that honestly, I'm like, it's gotten a little crazy. If I know I don't have something going on, like on a Saturday per se, I truly will do all of that except my like Bible time outside. Like I will sit out there for an hour and I will just journal. And I feel like the mental clarity and the way that that just fills up my soul, I'm like, I could do that. In the moment, it feels like I could do that all day. Obviously, I can't. But I am like, I just take everything I do and I extend it. Like even with like doing yoga, I'll just like do a way longer version, or I'll then also go on a walk. And my husband jokes because he'll like sleep in and then get up and he's like, you're still doing your morning routine? Like, haven't you been awake for hours? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still going.
Aww.
Like, I just truly, I know that my rhythm is like bringing me joy when I just want to extend everything. And I just like love it all so much.
I love that. I feel like for me on the weekends, I feel like I definitely would say on the weekends I sleep in. I try.
Yeah,
I try.
It's hard.
My body wakes me up so early. And I feel like, I think you mentioned this. I do set an alarm, but I think almost every day I wake up before my alarm. Like naturally my body just wakes me up. But on the weekend, if I wake up at my normal time, I honestly, especially now that I'm not marathon training and don't have to be up early, I really try to like go back to sleep, and I try to sleep in because I do love my sleep. So on the weekends I try to sleep in. I always have my morning apple on the weekends, but I think, yeah, my rhythm is honestly pretty similar except extended of like, I know that I get to go on the longest walk if I want. But I get
Isn't that the best feeling?
It's the best. And I get to bop around and I get to like, yeah, just go explore. And I don't have to be back by 9 a.m. to start my workday. Like I get to just like go and walk. And if I want to walk for a short amount of time, great. If I want to walk forever, great. Except the one thing I usually don't do on the weekends is I don't work out on the weekends. Some people do.
I feel like it's rare if I do.
I don't. I'm like, I did my work. And I mean, that's so restful too. But I feel like my weekends are definitely more flexible, but I think it's also a time where I get to be even more present with the rhythms I love. Like I get to be more present with my walk because I don't have to cut it off at a certain time. I get to be more present with my mind and with journaling time because I don't have to squeeze it in the last 30 minutes of my morning. Like it can be my whole morning if I want it to be, you know? And so I think that is the beautiful thing of when you find things you're loving and that just serve and honor your mind, body, spirit, you crave them and you crave the extension of them, like you said. And it's the best feeling because that's how you know it's an act of love, not just obligation. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the highlight of my week is my Saturday mornings, truly.
Same.
Like there's nothing better. And I think that would be like one of my first pieces of advice when you're thinking about your morning rhythm or routine. I think just asking yourself, like, do you look forward to it? Because I feel like if you don't, then maybe that's a signal that something, whether you need to eliminate something or start incorporating something new. But I find for me, there is such a through line just in my life, but specifically with like rhythms I implement of, you'll notice like nourishment, like food is such a priority. Nature is such a way to like calm my mind and just like awaken me in a very natural way. Some sort of movement in some capacity, I think is just so like such a blessing truly that I can just move my body. And then the last piece would be like just a spiritual component of like time to connect with Jesus and just like be present and talk to him and like let him direct my thoughts for the day. And I feel like whatever those look like, as long as I have those 4 things, I will have like a great day. I'm like,
Yes.
that's what I need. Give me those things and I will be set up for success and I will go into the day fulfilled. And I think that's so key.
I love that so much. And I think even in this conversation, just being so open to what exactly that looks like changing. Because I mean, I even shared a little bit, like there was a time through marathon training, for example, where I'd always been in the rhythm of waking up, working out, and then, getting into the rest of my rhythms. Through marathon training, I like hit a point, I don't know if it was like halfway through, where the thought of like waking up and working out sounded like the actual worst thing in the world. And I had to make that decision that I'm going to change this and I'm going to move my body specifically with like a more intentional workout in the afternoon. And noontime was my time to move my body in that way. And if I looked at my morning routine as a to-do list, I would have been extremely disappointed. I would have looked at myself and said, you lack motivation, you lack discipline, when in reality, rhythms aren't going to ask something of you that you don't want to give. And that is why we speak the language of rhythms over routines, because if I was looking at my morning as just a routine, I would have been beating myself up, even though I was in the midst of marathon training, but I would have been beating myself up for not being more quote unquote disciplined for waking up and going on my runs. But instead, I allowed the rhythm to shift to what honored me best in that moment, in that season of my life. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to change my runs to a walk and I'll go on my run later in the day. And so I think allowing your favorite part of your mornings to be your favorite part, not someone else's, not the framework of what you think you should do, not the framework of even what we're saying we're doing, not the framework of any reel that you see on Instagram, but your own framework. And I love the 4 points that you shared, because I truly think inviting different elements of those 4 things into your morning is such a beautiful way to just, start the day so steadfast and with a clear mind. And I think if there's anything that I can also encourage when it comes to your mornings, and I know this only because I've had friends who can be like this, is when we rush through our mornings, and let's say you may right now be the type of person that wakes up and then immediately starts getting ready and has to be out the door, and you don't have time to eat breakfast or to sit with your mind or to move your body or to get fresh air, that sense of urgency is going to carry through different areas of your life. And so that's why we so encourage to find those rhythms that really honor you and make you feel so grounded and so at peace and so full, because you deserve to have your own time in the morning to set your own foundation for your day. And I know in moments when I'm just allowing time to escape me, or I'm allowing my morning to feel urgent or to feel rushed, whoa, does that affect my day? But whoa, does that affect my whole week, my life, my mind, my well-being? And I know for myself, moments I've felt out of control, in reality, I've allowed time to escape me versus time to establish and ground me. And so we just pray too, even with that this would just encourage you to find time to invest in yourself versus like finding time to check off to-do list of what you need to do in the morning.
I love that so much. And we just hope with all of this that it truly provided a sense of freedom. I think that's always our intention, is to just uplift you guys. And I think to even just redefine and reframe, a lot of times we're doing things and sometimes we need to just take a step to just evaluate and see, is this still adding value to my life? And I feel like a morning rhythm should do exactly that. It should get you excited. It should add value to you. It should recharge you. It should energize you and be such a place of like rest and safety and peace. And so whatever it is you feel like you need in order to start the day well, we pray that that is a space in which you're able to pursue it, and that this conversation helped encourage you guys and even just get you to evaluate from just kind of a new place. And so we hope that this was, as always, encouraging. And we are going to jump into love notes. Okay, guys, for this week's Love Notes, we're just going to answer a few fun questions. It was also Bree's birthday this past week, which is so incredible. So that is the first question. What was your birthday gift to yourself?
Okay, so I don't know if those who are watching on YouTube might be able to see, but it's also still very far away. I got another new tattoo. This is actually my 8th tattoo, which is so crazy.
Wait, 28.
28. Oh, wait, that's actually so funny. So I just celebrated my 28th birthday and I just got my 8th tattoo, which you guys would never know. I feel like people would never think that I have that many.
Yeah.
But they're all really, really tiny. I have a cross on my neck for those on YouTube who are watching. I have an angel wing on my ankle. I have the word amor in my mom's handwriting on my hip. I have a star on my forearm. And then I have a little triangle on my wrist. And then I have the word love on my hand and also a baby heart. And then now I have a bee. And the meaning behind this, and I'm very honestly kind of impulsive when I come to tattoos.
Which is so surprising.
It's so funny. Like some people buy themselves gifts. I put something permanent on my body. But the inspiration behind this is, one, I love the word love on my hand. I love it, the hand tattoo moment. But I wanted to get another hand tattoo, honestly. And I was like, you know what? I think it'd be so special if I got my initial on my right hand. And then when I get married, I'm going to tattoo my husband's initial on the same spot on my left hand. So that was kind of my heart behind it. And I love it so far. I've only had it for about 4 days at this point. So she's fresh. But that was my gift to myself.
That's a really good gift. Maybe one day I'll do that. We'll see.
I'm ready for Marissa to join the club.
Oh, can you imagine? I would do it. You kind of have to do it spontaneously. Otherwise, you might talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, not me. Talk myself in.
Okay, what is something you hope to accomplish in this next year of life?
So I feel like this is such a good customary question that I've already been asked so much, and it's so funny. And this is just my honest answer. I actually don't know what I want to accomplish this year. And maybe I just haven't sat with myself enough to identify that. But I feel I think about last year when I celebrated my birthday, there were so many specific things that I was hoping for. There were so many specific things that I was hoping to see happen. And so many of those things did happen. And I'm so grateful that I had my sights set on those things. But I feel this year, God is almost letting me feel such a blank slate that I don't necessarily have my eyes fixated on certain things, but I more so just feel open and receptive to just see honestly kind of what happens. I'll probably say this every year until it does happen. And this is not really something in my control. But I'm okay, God, if this is the year that I meet my husband, that would be fantastic. But aside from that, yes, I would love to run another marathon. That's another goal. Yes, I would love to see this podcast grow. That's another goal. There's so many things that are desires, but in regards to tangibly wanting to accomplish, I have no idea. I feel this is going to be a year of surprises for me. So we'll see.
That's good. That is hard. Even when I think of that, I'm oh, wow. What a powerful question.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know that I know either. I think for me, I just want to feel more like myself in a way and more
that's so good.
Aligned with my purpose. I feel each year I get a little more tuned in of God reveals this is who you actually are. And I almost feel I get more confidence or even just assurance and I even feel freedom to just pursue things where I'm wait, I normally wouldn't be this bold or pursue this thing. And I feel it's so cool to see that each year. I feel it's beyond even confidence. I would almost say it's self-assurance. And I think this is what people talk about when they say their 30s are the best, because they just feel so free and they're so themselves that I'm that is something I think we can sometimes get hard on ourselves with birthdays and can get in our feels about all the things we don't yet have. But I'm there is so much more like self-assurance and like revelation of like God will continue to reveal who he created me to be, and I get to discover that. Like, how fun.
I know. And I think that's what's really like such a relief around this birthday is like I don't feel pressure to have this long list of what I want to accomplish. Like I am just open and receptive because I know that God has built me up to this point in my life to have such a strong sense of self, to have assurance, to have confidence in who he has created me to be. And that's only going to increase. And that is really the foundation of accomplishing anything in my life. And if I have that, then I am already equipped to accomplish whatever he has in store for me. So
good.
It's just like, I just feel peace. I'm like at peace.
I love that.
Okay, the last question we're going to answer is what are we looking forward to this summer? It honestly already feels like summer in California. It's just the weather has just been so beautiful. I already feel like I've gotten quite a bit of sun.
I already got my first sunburn of the year. It's official.
Yeah, the sun is shining as she always does, but I am really looking forward to, I have a few like little trips planned. I am going back to Austin for like a week in June. I actually don't know if I've shared that with you yet, but I'm so excited. Like I haven't. So for those who may not know, I moved from Austin, Texas to LA, and I haven't spent like a significant amount of time there in over a year. And I just like miss my friends. I'm missing Texas. And so I'm like so excited to go back and like see people I haven't seen in a while. And then I have a good friend who I actually met in Austin, but she now lives in Seattle. And I'm going to go visit her in August for her birthday. And so it'll be my first time going to Seattle too, which is really exciting. And then honestly, like you guys, if y'all have been listening for a while, you guys know that we enjoy surfing. I have not been surfing, oh my gosh, since last year, since 2023.
Yeah, same.
It's so bad, I'm embarrassed. And this is the summer that I want to get good. Like I need to commit getting myself back out there. So
I'm so nervous.
I'm nervous. I'm gonna get white.
I think because I'm like, I know it's gonna be so defeating. Where like, I just finally was making some inkling of progress. And then I'm like, I feel like that's going to go out the window. But muscle memory is a thing.
It is. I believe.
We're praying that happens, because what a fun summer. Because last year, I kind of got into surfing towards the end. I think like the end of July. And I'm like, if we could start now in May, just imagine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'd be on top of it. I can't wait. But also, yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah. So I would say that's actually probably the number one thing I'm looking forward to. Also, just like more time at the beach. And then the second thing would be we're going to visit John's side of the family, and they have a lake house in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
So lake life.
The infamous lake house.
Yes. So fun. So new to lake life. And I'm like so excited now that I've done like all the lake activities. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it. I know what I like.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. So summer is just like such a fun season.
It is. I can't wait. All the time outdoors.
All the time. Okay, well, we hope you guys, as always, loved this episode. We love you, and we will see you in our next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for listening. We pray this episode was encouraging and life-giving. If you found it valuable, please share it with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe.
And be sure to follow us along over on Instagram at With Love Always Podcast. Signing off with all of our love always, Bree
And Marissa.